Approaches to learning is broadly covered in the second section of our book. So there is many theories and approaches to learning that are mentioned while reading the chapters. The first theory in which I'm going to go over is Pavlov's classical conditioning. So this is where organisms learn to connect or associate stimuli, and the neutral stimulus becomes associated with a meaningful stimulus. So classical conditioning overall is a form of associative learning in which a neutral stimulus becomes associated with a meaningful stimulus and acquires the capability to elicit a similar response. So, for example, Pavlov used a dog for his classical conditioning experiment. So before conditioning, you have a neutral stimulus, so like a bell, ringing the bell. The unconditioned stimulus is the food. So when you ring the bell and place the food, that dog is going to think of ringing the bell as getting food. And then you could further use this in your classroom as classical conditioning. If, say, a student were to do good on a homework, they receive a sticker. So they see a sticker as a form of doing good on their homework. So they're wanting to do better on their homework or, say, a quiz or a test to receive that sticker. So that would be a way that I could use classical conditioning in my classroom. Another approach to learning is the social constructivist approach. So this is the approach that emphasizes the social context of learning and that knowledge is mutually built and constructed. So involvement with others creates opportunities for students to evaluate and refine their understanding as they're exposed to thinking of others and as they participate in creating shared understanding. So as well, behaviors that are rewarded are more likely to be repeated. So whereas behaviors that are punished are less likely to be repeated. So if a student sees one of their friends or peers doing something right, they are going to want to do that as well. This is what makes it a social constructivist approach. But whereas if a student was doing something bad and a student saw that it was bad, they are not going to do that same thing. And lastly, another approach to learning is strategies and metacognitive regulations. So this is how well one is performing. Learning how to use strategies also takes time, and your strategies require prior knowledge. So at a final point about strategies is that many strategies depend on prior knowledge, as I said. So students can't apply organizational strategies to a list of items unless they know the correct categories into which they fall into. And then metacognition is a very big thing in the classroom. So metacognition is monitoring how well one is performing a task. So this might involve becoming more aware that one has not studied enough for a test or needs to reread a particular section of a chapter to understand it better. Us providing metacognition to students is to help better them in how they are doing in the classroom and how they are learning. So to give them more help would be another example. I could use that in my classroom. So say I see a student that is not doing as well in a class that they have been, I can help them and bring more metacognition to them by helping them and providing more things for them to thoroughly understand what we are learning.